So what could that all-out confrontation look like? To talk about that, I'm happy to be joined by Konstantin Vössing. He's a political scientist at Humboldt University here in Berlin. His focus is on the Social Democrats and European integration. Thanks so much for being with us, Konstantin.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
What does Martin Schulz stand for in terms of what he's going to run on in this election? What are his issues going to be?
He had to make a choice. Is he going to cater to the populist rhetoric? Is he going to do what it seems like Sigmar Gabriel was sometimes tempted to do? To be the better populist, to be more populist than the originals? Or is he going to say this far and no further? I'm going to be a candidate of the Social Democratic Party, and I'm going to have a social democratic agenda in an old-fashioned way, almost so to speak. And he decided he's going to be a social democrat. That has become clear.
Okay, you're saying he's going to differ from Gabriel. And Gabriel, you were intimating, I think, was talking about stepping up deportations, sounding, pretty much along the AfD lines there at some point when he was discussing the issue of migration and security. But if Martin Schulz is going to go along the classic SPD line, is that the message right now that voters want to hear when they're concerned about terrorism and security?
I think the great opportunity that the Social Democrats have right now is that there is this guy, he's fresh, he's new. Voters know that he has political experience. He's been with the big guys at all these international events, and he's been this European guy. He's a social democrat. He has a social democratic biography. So he can very consistently represent social democratic values. And now this guy comes and says, listen, a lot of stuff has gone wrong in politics in this country, in Europe, globally, in the past few years. And I want to talk about that, and I want to tell you guys, no, we have to do this differently.
Okay, you're saying his association with the elites in Brussels is a plus for him. He's been on all the major world stages, but it could also be a minus right now. There's a big anti-EU sentiment in Germany as there is elsewhere.
Yeah, and I think there's a big anti-EU sentiment because no one really steps up and says, we need the EU, and this is why. I think a lot of people have this vague pro-Europe position, but they're really trying to hide it. No one is, is stepping up and saying, this is why we need the EU, and he does that.
Okay, Konstantin, what does Martin Schulz need to do to articulate that? How is he going to do that?
He needs to come up with better justifications for what Europe is good for. What does Europe do for us? What does Europe do for Germans, first of all? And second of all, he needs to not talk so much about the extent of European integration. Do we need more or less Europe? He needs to talk more about what kind of Europe we need in order to make that issue stick with voters and be convincing.
What do you think he'll say to that?
I think he'll say, well, I think
it's hard to anticipate.
It's a difficult one, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, just yesterday we thought that Sigmar Gabriel was going to be the candidate, and now
incredible turnaround.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think what he's going to do, if it's in line with what he's done so far, with what he's said so far, I think he's going to say we need a social Europe. We need a Europe of solidarity between people, and a Europe that therefore also helps people that have been disadvantaged by globalization in Germany. So a Europe that helps for social balance and social peace, not just between countries within Europe, but for people, and also for people in Germany.
Okay, what I'm hearing you say is he's going to avoid the mistake that Hillary Clinton made in the United States. He's going to reach out to the working class, a group that the Democrats in the United States and the SPD here in Germany has forgotten about to a large degree.
I think from what he said, it is obvious that he is that he wants to run a campaign of tolerance, that he wants to run a campaign of social justice, and that he wants to make clear that the Social Democrats right now are the only party in Germany that combines that social question with political liberalism and tolerance. And the working class, the forgotten working class that you mentioned, is an important part of that coalition. It's not the only group, but it's an important part.
I see a big challenge coming from the left party, first of all. And Sarah Wagenknecht, she has already indicated she's going to go for those forgotten middle class and working class voters. Is she a problem for Martin Schulz?
Yeah, sure. She's a problem. But Martin Schulz has, in my mind, devise the only, or has started to devise the only kind of strategy that will help, which is this far and no further. We don't want simple populist recipes anymore. We take your concerns seriously, but it's complicated. Politics is a complicated process that requires tolerance.
And briefly, if you could, it's become more complicated by the rise of the AfD, the Alternative for Germany, the far-right party. What do they mean for Martin Schulz? Can he counter them?
Yeah, I think that's the same kind of scenario on both sides. And he said there are these forces of populism on both sides that we have
left and right,
that we have to contend with. And I'm not going to cater to you guys. I want to speak to the people that you're trying to convince, but I want to do it smartly. You know, I don't want to do it the way you do. I want to do it smartly.
So he's going to play his own song, do his own music, and look for his own way forward.
And we'll see if he's going to succeed with it.
We will. Okay, Konstantin Vössing, I look forward to looking into this in the days and weeks ahead with you. Thanks so very much for being with us.